The platform was deserted. A lone figure stood beneath the dim glow of a flickering lamppost. The midnight air was thick with the chill of impending winter. He clutched a worn suitcase, its leather cracked and faded, a testament to countless journeys, most forgotten. But tonight's journey was different. Tonight held the weight of the past, the ache of regret. He was a man running from shadows, from whispers of what could have been. Dreams lay shattered at his feet, aspirations lost in the haze of time. Every tick of the clock, amplified in the stillness, was a reminder of his failures, of promises broken. He had sought solace in the anonymity of the city, finding only emptiness. The distant rumble of an approaching train broke the silence. A flicker of hope, a beacon in the darkness. Could this be his redemption? Could this journey lead him back to where he belonged? He wasn't sure. But amidst the swirling doubts, a single thought emerged. It was time to go home. As the train screeched to a halt, its brakes sighing in protest, he noticed her. An elderly woman, her face etched with the wisdom of years, her eyes reflecting a lifetime of stories. She carried a single faded tapestry bag, its intricate embroidery hinting at forgotten traditions. Their eyes met, his filled with uncertainty, hers with a quiet understanding.
Long journey?
She asked, her voice a gentle melody that soothed his frayed nerves. He nodded, surprised by the calmness that washed over him. He hadn't spoken to anyone in what felt like an eternity. Yet here he was, drawn to the quiet strength of this stranger.
Sometimes the longest journeys are the ones we take within ourselves.
Her words resonated deep within him, echoing the turmoil in his soul. He found himself drawn into a conversation, sharing fragments of his story. The dreams he had chased, the mistakes he had made, the family he had left behind. He spoke of his childhood, a time of laughter and warmth, of a father who had pushed him to be his best, perhaps too hard. He spoke of his dreams of becoming an artist, a dream met with disapproval, deemed impractical. The words tumbled out, a torrent of guilt and regret.
We often mistake ambition for happiness. Sometimes in chasing our own desires, we forget the ones who matter most.
He thought of his father, his weathered face etched with disappointment. The memory of their last argument, harsh words spoken in anger, left a bitter taste in his mouth. Years of silence stretched between them, a chasm too wide to bridge.
And your mother?
The woman asked, her voice barely a whisper. He had avoided speaking of her, the pain still too raw, the guilt too heavy to bear. He spoke of her unwavering love, her quiet strength, her unwavering belief in him, even when he had lost faith in himself. He spoke of her illness, the fear that had gripped him, the guilt of not being there when she needed him the most.
A mother's love is a powerful force. It can heal old wounds, mend broken hearts.
He looked at her, his heart heavy with remorse. Arun, but I pushed them away. I was blinded by my own pain, my own mistakes. The woman smiled gently.
It's never too late to seek forgiveness, to mend broken bridges.
Her words were like a lifeline, pulling him from the depths of despair. He realized he had been so consumed by his own pain that he had failed to see the pain he had inflicted on others. He had been so afraid of confronting his past that he had let it define his present. The train rattled on, carrying them towards their destinations. He knew he couldn't erase the past, but he could choose to learn from it. He could choose to forgive himself, to forgive his father, and most importantly, to honor his mother's memory by embracing the love that still bound them together. As the first rays of dawn painted the sky in hues of pink and orange, he knew what he had to do. The fear was still there, a knot in his stomach, but it was overshadowed by a newfound determination. He had spent years running, but he was tired of hiding. He thanked the woman for her kindness, her words a beacon of hope in his darkest hour. He disembarked at the next station, his steps lighter, his heart filled with a cautious optimism. He hailed a cab, giving the driver the address that had haunted his dreams for years. Home. The journey was a blur. He barely registered the passing scenery, his mind awash with memories both bitter and sweet. He thought of his father, his once strong frame now stooped with age, his eyes reflecting a quiet sadness. He had been harsh, demanding, but he had also loved him in his own way. The taxi pulled up outside a modest house, its paint faded, the garden overgrown. He paid the driver, his hand trembling as he reached for the doorbell. He took a deep breath, the air thick with the scent of freshly cut grass and childhood memories. And then he rang the bell. The door creaked open, revealing his father, his face etched with surprise, then a flicker of recognition. For a moment they simply stared at each other, the years of silence a tangible barrier between them. "Arun, Dad?" His father's eyes welled up. And then he pulled him into a tight embrace, an embrace that spoke volumes of unspoken words, of regret, of forgiveness, of unconditional love. He stepped inside, the familiar scent of his mother's apple pie filling his senses. It was as if no time had passed, yet everything had changed. He was home. He was finally home. That night, as they sat at the dinner table, sharing stories and laughter, he knew he had made the right decision. The journey had been long, fraught with pain and uncertainty, but it had led him back to where he belonged. He had found forgiveness, not just for his father, but for himself. And in that forgiveness, he found peace. S4. Media Group. Peaceful family scene. Young man with content expression at stock at distribute _ equally. Son.